Hey guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Kris with
And
a
I'm
cricket in the
Jake.
garage. I have a
With a
cricket
what?
in here. Can you hear him, Mr. Cricket?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I've had a cricket in my garage for about a week, and I can't find him. I'm like walking around.
It's our special guest,
Mr. Cricket. Yeah, Jiminy
Mr. Cricket.
Cricket is here on the Overcrest podcast. How are you? Please tell me what it was like to work for Disney in the 60s.
Oh boy, yeah. Probably some stories there.
Yeah, not so good. I'm sure he was discriminated against.
We're not going to go there. That's fine.
What's going on, dude? Captain Mr. Busy Guy with the
busy
with the new pole building and the new International Scout and the new place
right,
and
so
the
many
broken
things.
skid steer and the rally and the everything.
There's been so much going on, and you've been doing some solo interviews, and it's been great. But I've really missed this a lot.
Yeah. Well, we have missed you. We have missed you, Jake.
Well, thank you. I don't know if you're speaking for everyone, but yeah.
Well, I'm sure everybody misses you. If I miss you, everybody misses you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't even know where to start. When did we talk last?
I have something to brag about.
Okay, why don't you start there, I guess.
I have 3 running projects in my garage right now. 3.
So, okay, you have the Trooper.
Everything runs. Everything doesn't work, but everything runs.
Would you drive all 3 of them down to me right now?
I just took the Mercedes to Maple Grove and back, which is a solid 80 miles.
So that new exhaust. This is the. How are we saying the M3 Mercedes, the Mercedes?
Mercedes. I think it's a Mercedes.
Sounds Greek.
I think it's
like
just, to me,
mythological beast.
To me, it's just a driven to death car.
Yes. Okay. So the driven to death car.
Yep.
This is with the S52.
It's an S50. So I think that's 240 horsepower, and it's totally stock. Absolutely stock.
Well, it's not stock because it's not in the right chassis.
Well, and the motor is totally stock. I didn't want to go overboard with the engine right away. I wanted to get that baseline down, like just have things be stock, see how it drives. As always, and I tell people this over and over again, and we had Drew on a little while ago, and we talked about the same thing. People have this thing where they go, I have a new shiny thing. Yeah. How many shiny things can I put on the shiny thing?
That is the first thing.
That's what everybody does.
100%.
100%.
And then usually end up going backwards if you keep it long enough. Tone it down.
Yeah, because what you should do is you should buy the car, you should drive the car a little bit, or finish the car, or whatever it is, whatever the most basic version of your car is, whatever the most basic boil down. Yeah, if you have a project, finish the project, get it running, get it driving, and then see what it needs. Like right now, I know that the driven to death car needs suspension work. It needs work. It's too soft. I recently bought Coney struts for it. They're Coney Classics, and they're adjustable, right? So you get them out of the box. Go ahead.
I was going to say, didn't you haven't done this yet? Because I know you put new springs in just the other day.
I did the whole front. Okay, so I did the whole front. So the car's too low. When I originally built the car, I cut the springs to the ride height, and it looked great when I finished it. And I put all new bushings, all new everything, totally stock bushings, and I put Bilstein B4 struts in there, which are like comfort struts. They're not super stiff.
Right.
By the time I got to Idaho to do the rally, the thing was absolutely slammed. It was on
quite a
the
bit.
ground. It settled probably 2 inches.
Oh, wow.
The thing was it was tucking almost the entire tire. It looked sick. It looked super sick. But no, it was too low. So then by the time I got to California, it's what's amazing. It was still comfortable.
Yeah. Was it bottoming out? Were you hitting bump stops? Were you dragging on things?
I cut the bump stops down. I didn't really experience any issues with, hammering the bump stops.
Then it's not too low. Then you're good.
It is now because the oil pan on the BMW. Anybody that's done like any modern front sump BMW swap on, their rear sump, but you move the sump to the front on like an E30, or if you do it on a W114 Mercedes, the front oil pan is now the lowest part of your car.
The Achilles heel. Can you modify that any other way? Can you like make it higher and wider or something for the same volume?
I don't have room.
Wow.
I don't have room. There's nowhere for me to do that.
I
might be able to do something like that. So I'm thinking about, I had to modify the subframe on the car.
Yep.
So I had to like cut it down, get everything to fit because, I basically took what was a subframe that was about this thick and I cut it in half. Then I welded a plate across it and shrunk it down. And what I think would help is putting a tube, like doing like a tube chassis subframe, like bend tube and like really get rid of a lot of this. And I would have more space then because it would add real estate, negative space for me to do things like an oil pan or something like that. Needless to say, I got it home, drove it around a bit, everything exploded, whatever, put the BMW engine in, dropped it on the ground. I think it's heavier.
That's what I was wondering too. Yeah,
technically the engine should be lighter by quite a bit, but I've got an enormous ZF transmission in there instead of that little 4-speed.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on in the transmission itself.
Is that ZF a 5-speed?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a 5-speed. It's a great. So far, it's a really nice transmission. Anyway, so my oil pan right now is about that high off the ground.
Ooh. Okay.
Which is like, I don't know, what is that, 1.5 inches?
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Not great. Not super great. So I ordered some Coney Classics and I ordered some new heavy duty springs and I ordered new spring hats, which are just like it's like a rubber bushing that sits on top of the spring to soften the, there's no bushing. Otherwise this is not a McPherson strut.
Right.
So when you have like a McPherson strut, which is what most modern cars will have, the spring and the strut are one assembly. And at the top, there's a bearing and a bushing in one so that the wheel can turn. This is completely separate. So you have a strut separate from the spring. So to isolate the noise and the vibration from the spring, you have to have a rubber spring hat on there. And they come in different heights to help.
It also recesses to give you the coil itself somewhere or is this just a rubber donut? You know what I'm talking about? Where it has a reset.
Yeah, it's a rubber donut and then the spring on top is flat. So it's been like machined flat on the top of the spring. So they make different heights on that. Right. So you can have you can stack it up or whatever. You're so quiet to me. Let me turn you up a little bit.
Well, it's because I was yelling before. And so you made me turn myself down. What I was going to say is what you should do, what I've done on both the C10 and on the van is it's the same setup. It's not a McPherson. It is, the strut or the spring is on the A-arm, right? And then the strut or the shock or dampener is separate from that. They make for Jeeps, actually. It's for the off-road community. Basically, these spring perches. And it's because like coilover springs are usually very like narrow, right? The diameter of the spring. So those perches don't work on these bigger springs. But like Jeep guys, in order to raise and lower, they do make these adjustable threaded spring perches for the larger diameter spring.
Well, that's what you do on like the back of it. Most modern Volkswagens in the rear have something like that. Yeah, it has like a base with like a collar that slips inside the spring. Correct. And then you can adjust it.
So that's what I did, and I would recommend that because you're going to be tweaking.
Great. I think so. I called up 2 people. I talked to H&R to see about getting like a custom spring, and I also talked to the owner of Ground Control.
Ooh,
and Ground Control makes all kinds of different parts and different assemblies that you can make your own.
Their front spring and adjustable ride height on the 944 Turbo is all Ground Control.
Okay. Yep. So those are the 2 options I'm looking at. But right now, I'm going to throw the taller spring perch in. The ride height's almost there. The issue is that the rear I haven't touched the rear. So I'm trying to finish the front to an acceptable level, and then I'll move on to the rear. So I've been dicking around with that a lot.
In
theory,
the rear height will slightly affect the front as well, like weight transfer wise. Probably not enough to really care about, but just keep that in mind.
Yeah, if I was driving a Formula One vehicle and cared.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying if you're trying to get it like millimeter perfect ride height, and you're talking about different, perch heights, we're talking like
half inch at a time. We're talking a half inch at a time. We're not talking like. I don't care. I'm not Mike Burrows. I don't care that much.
Millimeter perfect stance.
No, I don't care that much. I just need it to look fine. And I've got to do something with like a skid plate. at some point. But I think that comes with the tubular front cross member with a skid plate built in. I think would be ideal. So I had the exhaust was done by Chuck Bauer.
Yep.
And he's been around for a long time. And he did a custom headers, like 2 separate headers. So it's 2 all the way back to the back of the car.
Yep. It's really
and it was
cool.
a really, really tight spot. Super, super tight spot. And I'm gonna mark this because I'm gonna grab a picture and I'm gonna post some pictures or video or something. And it looks so good. I mean, he crammed everything in there, made it as equal length as he possibly could. It's not equal length. It's not equal length, but he did the best that he could. So it has it has a unique sound, which is really neat. Cool. And it sounds incredible. It sounds unreal, and it is super rowdy. It's fast.
Oh my goodness. It
finally feels like the car looks. It finally feels it. You know, and it's got that 4.0 rear end in it right now.
I was wondering what the gearing was.
It is so short, but it's 70 miles an hour is 4,000 RPM.
Okay.
Which isn't like not the end of the world.
No.
But in my mind, I thought it would be worse.
Okay.
And now the rear end that I have, I think, is like a 3.1. Which
that's too much.
I'm thinking that's going to be too much.
I agree. Dude,
I don't know. We'll see.
Or tall, rather, rear end. That's so fun.
I'm probably going to leave it for a little while. I'm going to leave it for a little while.
For sure. It's just, it only sucks.
Cross country.
Exactly. Which, just ship it. You don't have time for cross country runs anyways.
You know, it's really sad. You know, I used to drive to everything and rip on everybody for shipping their cars places. But it's gotten to the point now.
Our new tagline is ship the car.
It's unfortunate. You know, I don't have the time to do the things I like to do anymore, which is I love the cross country trip to get to the place wherever it is that I'm going. I love the defrag time. I love the meditation of it. Exactly. And I'm already gone between Road to Air Water, Redux, Overcrest Rally, Top Secret Thing.
That's a lot of
maybe
time.
Another thing.
And
it's
scouting.
5 and scouting. I'm already gone. Like just that without driving to these places. Just like driving to LA takes 4 days there and 4 days back for me.
Yeah, to do it comfortably.
Look at stuff.
Right.
Or 3 days. We could do it in 2, but even let's say 3 days. That's another week. And I'm already, so then I'm away from home for a month and a half total out of the year, just doing driving events and rallies. And I just can't do it for every single thing. It would add like another month of time away from my family. And I can't do that. It's not fair to them and it's not fair to me. And it sucks. So yeah, it just ends up, maybe I just have to ship the car. And at some point I would like to think that I've earned the merit badge of driving across the country.
I think we've already set kind of, you for sure have.
Yeah.
Already.
We need to work on your merit badge a little bit.
Really?
You don't like it. You don't like it.
I'm a busy guy. No, I do enjoy, like you talk, the solitude of it and the fact that it gives you a lot of time it is a meditation because you're forced
to. You get antsy though.
I do. Well, not when I'm driving by my self. Like I really enjoyed it. And I did a lot of driving last year as well in the van, like back. I went across the state of, was it Oregon or Idaho that I did like 3 times across the state during the rally, just Oregon. For logistics crap back and forth. Yeah, it was
Oregon.
That was a lot of solo seat time, which it's great. And the reason I think that it is so unique is sure, you can just be by yourself and go for a walk or something. But guess what? You still have your phone with you and undoubtedly will pull it out and text or look up something. Or when you're driving, you need to be focused on the road. And that leaves enough mental capacity to kind of, you call it defrag. It's meditate and reflect. So yeah, it's important. It's great. And
especially if you're driving the van, you can't look at your phone anyway because you might crash.
Why?
It's pretty sketchy to drive.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's a few things that need to be dialed in.
It's not confidence inspiring in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's not. Which is why neither of us drove it this year.
No, Alex, our new hire, Alex. Which we should have her on the podcast to talk about the van. She loves the van. She's named it Van A White.
Yes, which we're not into naming things, but that's fine.
But if that makes her happy, that's all that matters.
Yes. So speaking of the driven to death car, before we go too far, does it have AC?
No, there's no room for AC. So that car will never have AC. However, I will state that it was 86 degrees yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
When I was driving around. First of all, the temperature stayed awesome. It was at 200 degrees the whole time I was driving around traffic. But that car is the best airflow of any vehicle I have ever been in. So really? I don't know how they designed it in such a way, but what comes out of the front vents is super hard. Even at like 40 miles an hour, it's just super high airflow. And
so
then you have the vent windows.
Effect.
Yeah. And then you've got the vent windows which crank open. So they don't the slip shut.
The wing windows you're talking about.
Yeah. That car, cool, I've driven it in many very, very, very hot days. Way better than the 911. For some reason, the 911 seems to radiate heat. It's just that's part of the air-cooled. Valves is shut open or whatever, but it's still stuck open.
Shut closed. It'd be stuck closed so that it's pushing air up.
Yeah.
Because remember, the vents
stuck the wrong way. It's stuck the wrong way.
And the other thing I always forget about with the 911 is the rear pop-out windows, because that does make a big difference for airflow in the cabin. For sure. Yeah. And I don't think I opened them at all this last rally, which I should.
Yeah, I popped it open for Jessie. She drove the 911 on the rally, which, by the way, God, I think last time last time we were on, we talked about the Scirocco and everything that we did with the 911, but we never had a resolution.
No, which we'll get there. But I just want to touch real quick, going back to cooling, the fact that the driven to death car stayed right at temp and did so well.
Do you want to know what kind of radiator it has, Jake?
It's a CSF cooling radiator.
It is a CSF. It's one of their copper brass classic radiators.
Correct.
And it's actually out of a first gen Land Cruiser.
Really?
Is what it's from. Yeah, it's a first gen Land Cruiser. So I got I tried getting a few different shrouds that go with that style radiator. It's just I don't have room in between the
I suppose
the radiator and the engine. And the radiator itself, it's super well built. It's super nice. But I wanted to put a shroud on it because that helps. It helps direct the air through when the fan is working. So I got a big fan,
electric fan.
Yeah, it's got an electric fan, and it's zip tied to the radiator. It's got those radiator zip tie things.
The through ones.
Yep. And I'm just thinking to myself, why not just run the clutch fan?
I was wondering if you have room.
Why not just, because one of the reasons I don't like it is when it's hot and you rev it up, it's like, it just makes all this racket and this noise. Right. But I would eliminate all the fan wiring, the temperature
thermostat
wiring, all that,
100%
probes in the radiator. So and plus it's super reliable. They work, and they flow a ton of CFM. They work. They do.
And even if they fail, they fail in the way of then they'll lock up. You know what I mean? Right. That's usually how clutch fans work. So even if it fails in the middle of the desert,
I might just put that on there and if you have all that wiring.
I think you should just simplify. Yeah.
But because right now CSF, I've got a probe stuck in the radiator, which isn't accurate. I'm trying to think in my head. I've got the little temperature probe and I'm pointing it at the water neck, and I'm like, okay, the water neck is 190 degrees right now. The thermostat's open. I want the radiator fan to come on at 200 degrees. So then I'm taking the probe and then I'm measuring the radiator. Okay, the radiator says 160. Okay, so then I have to get a probe that turns on at 170 and turns off at 150.
I get it. Because you have to do the math in order to compensate
the math of the
difference. Don't do that. Don't do that.
This sucks.
No.
However, I am going to have to do that on the Trooper. But I think I might just get the. Yeah, I don't know. The amount of money I'm spending at FCP Euro is just.
All right, one partner at a time though. Yeah, so CSF Cooling, they have high performance OEM plus and aftermarket cooling systems. They're the best on the market today. They have 3,000 different cooling applications, more than 3,000 for, of course, like you're talking about, their classic copper brass line for Land Cruisers, Jeeps, Datsuns, vintage Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Porsche, all the way up to new vehicles. The classic series is what they're expanding more right now. Check them out, csfrace.com, or on social media. They are at the forefront of quality products, and they do sell for a fair price.
Yeah, I think the issue is that I just don't want to sound like a semi truck when I rev it up. When the semi pulls away from a light and it's just all this crazy amounts of noise. I don't like that. And that's why I like the electric fan. But just for simplicity, I'm so scared of. I was talking to Byron Wilcox from Lakebow, and he's and Mike and Khalil. We were in a group chat, and they all were like, if that thing even shows like a modicum of overheating, if you even think it might overheat, if someone screams overheat from a 10-story building and you're down and you think you maybe heard someone say the words, stop driving the car. Fucking
it'll warp the head, right?
It'll warp the head. It'll warp the head, and I don't want that. I just had the head rebuilt. So the car did really, really well. Drove down to the drive shaft shop because I want to have, dude. I'm going to explain how I think I might balance the drive shaft myself. Did I send this to you already? Did I?
No, you didn't. But my dad just did his own drive shaft at home.
Okay, let me tell you if this
Model A Roadster.
We'll see if this is the same thing.
Okay,
because I looked it up on YouTube and I think it's super fascinating. And I think actually Tim Schott, Bimmer Tim on the Discord, sent me this video because we were talking about how to do this. So I need to have the drive shaft balance because it's custom.
Yes.
So there's a center support bearing at the center of the car, and everything from there back is Mercedes. Right. Everything from there forward,
that's what I was curious,
is custom. So you have
you had to slide it back. Yeah.
Just the slide on the drive shaft. So when you shift and the motor moves back and forth, there's like a joint there that slips. It's the slip joint,
yoke.
I guess it would be. Slip yoke. Sure. Sounds like breakfast. Sounds like if you were in like an area.
Definitely a brunch dish, the slip yoke.
Yeah, but in like Alabama, you're having I want that slip yoke. Yeah, it sounds like that's
and the collard greens.
Slip yoke. So you've got that, and then there's like a pipe and that's Mercedes, and then there's a pipe, the drive shaft, and then there's the flange that bolts to the BMW transmission, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that part is unbalanced.
Okay.
It doesn't wiggle a lot, but I can feel it. Feel it. So I'm like, okay. So I call up this drive shaft place. I'm said, hey, can you do this? And the guy says, well, bring it down and I can look. So yesterday I go, well, I gotta drive it. I'm so scared that things are gonna break. But I have to drive it. I have to break the things that are going to break, and I have to fix them. I have to get through that period. It's almost like a car's. It's almost like the terrible twos for a car, where it's like you just have to get through it. And once you get through it, if you can handle it and you fix the things that are wrong, you'll be good.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, and I'm in that right now, as you know, with Red, my son. 2.5 almost, and there's just new things every day. Like now we're coloring on walls. Like you always hear about that. It's like, how does that happen? Oh, I just came back and now there's just crayon marks all over the kitchen. Thanks.
Yep, it's
we don't
unregulated
do that.
Emotion.
The other
and unregulated testing
that is new to me is hiding things. Ooh. I've lost 2 sets of keys now. No idea where they are. He thinks he's helping. He's like putting things away. We talk about cleaning up your toys. Well, clearly, if there were keys on the counter, they need to be
one
put
of those
away.
air tags. Get a little air tag thing on.
But I have a lot of sets of keys too. And so, like, are they all going to be
many keys?
I have like 7 vehicles, more than that.
But only one of them is good.
Okay, yeah, I know, and that is the one that he lost the key for. By the way, is the Macan. So that's not great.
Oh, really?
I have the other key for it, but that's an expensive one to replace. So I'm really hoping that turns up somewhere. I'm worried it went in the trash.
You need to
that's what I'm worried about.
Dude, I threw away my Jackie X horn button from my 911 on accident. Yep, I cleaned the car out and I had a bunch of garbage piled on the floor and I scooped it all up and threw it away. Gone.
And that's where the horn button was.
Yep, I knew that's where it is. It's the JDM one too, the black one that says Jackie X. It's not the blue helmet. It's the rare one.
I know what you're talking about.
It was like $200 or something. Just
damn it. Yeah.
Big.
Okay, so you shake down your 2-year-old to the drive shaft shop.
Yes, the drive shaft shop. I go down there.
Shop shakedown.
Those guys all come pouring out of the shop, looking at the car or whatever, and they go.
I mean, we always forget the livery. Like we can talk about the car and the swap is really cool, but the first thing people see is the livery on it and are like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, well, it's a race car to anyone, right? It's basically a race car to anyone that looks at it, especially like a layman or even a regular citizen. Like that's not like you or I, like a normal human being. Like what are they, like just a bot or whatever, an NPC out in the world?
No, NPC,
an NPC. they don't understand. People come out and they start pointing at it, and they're all walking around taking pictures. It's cool. I mean, I like that it brings a smile to people's faces every day that it's out and about, especially driving around. People are just like looking out their window, just breaking their necks just to see what is that thing, because nobody sees that car either. The livery is sure, right, but also the car is nobody sees
that.
Those.
And now I'm sure it sounds the part as well.
Yeah, it's obnoxiously loud. But only when you're trying to be loud. It's actually quite nice. When you're just driving around, it's super chill. Okay, so I get to drive shop. They lay on the ground, they take a tape measure, and they're measuring things. And they go, yeah, we don't have the fixtures for this. And I said, why didn't you just tell me that before I drove all the way down here to Maple Grove, which is 38 miles away?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it was a good shakedown. I put 70, 80 miles on the car, maybe a little bit more. But they can't do it. They said maybe they could rent the fixtures from somewhere else. And I said, well, how much does that
sounds
cost?
Expensive.
And the guy goes, man, it's at least $200. And I'm like, I think what people don't understand is that I just want the problem solved.
Yeah.
Like, just tell me how much it's going to be to solve the problem. I will give you the money and then solve the problem. Like, this isn't, this isn't like a rusty box van that used to say Doritos on the side that nobody wants to spend money on because they're living in it. Right.
That is the problem with a lot of mechanics I encounter, is like they are used to people wanting to do the bare minimum. And so
I don't want to do the bare minimum.
Offer.
I want to do the unbare maximum. Yeah, that's what the unbare maximum. I want it to be the nicest drive shaft, and I want it done, and I don't mind paying for the quality work.
Anyway, they said how you're going to do it at home.
Okay. First, let me talk about my drive home. Car drove really nice most of the way. And then it got worse and worse as I got home. It started to misfire. And I think I've got coil packs in the car with like 275,000 miles on them.
Yeah, they're the original coil packs.
Yeah, the original coil packs. So I shit canned all the coil packs. I got new ones on the way from FCP Euro, so OEM ones. And I got a new crank position sensor and a new cam position sensor. So I'm just replacing everything. I'm just doing it all. And that just goes back to all the money I've spent at FCP Euro.
Should we talk about FCP Euro quick?
Yeah. Oh, also, one thing that's cool, listen to this. Yeah. I've been looking for a magnesium. My valve cover on that car is magnesium.
Okay.
And they warp. And then they leak. And then they pick. Mine leaks. It's old. It leaks. Okay. And they just came in stock again from BMW on the FCP Euro website. But they are $400. And I'm just like, I want to buy it so bad, but it's just like, it's not responsible to buy it.
Can you remachine the surface of them? Like if it warps? Is that probably not worth it?
The problem is that there's a powder coating on it that protects the magnesium.
Right.
And once you don't...
Because magnesium is porous.
Yeah. So once that's gone, that's when it just starts leaking. So if you machine it off, it's just going to start leaking again anyway. So I want to get a new one. I just have to wait because I just bought... Hi, honey. I just bought like $380 worth of coil packs and another couple of $50 worth of sensors and stuff like that.
You know what's great, though?
What?
They all have a lifetime warranty.
They do. Along with the... what else did I just buy?
911.
I just bought an alternator for something. Oh, the 911. I got all kinds of work to do on the 911, and everything's got a lifetime warranty. Rotor,
which is absolutely
alternator
amazing. Yeah. So FCP Euro, online retailer, of course, of OEM, genuine aftermarket and performance parts for European cars, BMW, Porsche, Volvo. The catalog is a one-stop shop with over 275,000 unique products. They have expert assembled kits as well to make it simpler. So if you have to do an oil change setup or a timing belt, they just have the kits with everything.
I ordered that for the Golf. So I ordered for the Golf. It came with the oil filter. I mean, it came with everything you need.
It's great.
To do
I love that.
It is great.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is like when you go to their website and you go to a product, it tells you, hey, let's say you go to like the ball joint section of your car. It'll give you all the symptoms of could it be your ball joint? And it tells you all about it. They've got on their YouTube, they have so many DIY episodes.
That's one thing I love about stuff.
It's great. They're really, really helpful.
Let's be honest, there's several parts houses that you can order from out there, but I think FCP is the number one when it comes to actually like being enthusiasts. As we've seen, they come out and support us on the rallies, and they know what they're talking about. Like they have good support, like you're talking about as well.
Yeah,
and like we said, every single product they sell is backed by a lifetime replacement guarantee, even wear items like wiper blades, brake pads, and oil filters, which is so amazing to me. Like, all right, just replace
we have a guy in the Discord that I thought that was like nobody actually did that, but
right.
Yep. Somebody I know does that. They send their oil back. Like,
that's so awesome. That's so awesome. You can do that. Yep. Okay. They also have a new distribution center in Mesa, Arizona. So now you're shipping parts from both coasts, serving most of the country in 3 to 4 days. Check them out, fcpeuro.com. Also have free shipping on any order over $49, which we learned Kris definitely made use of.
yeah. I definitely have. I should just go through and add it up. It would be uncomfortable.
Nope, you shouldn't. That is not a good time to do. Okay,
I feel like every time I feel like I'm almost done, dude, there's more. I want to
also have like 3 or 4 different project cars you're maintaining. Like,
it's nuts. Yep. I just ordered like a $50 map sensor for the TDI. It's just never. It's like $30, $50 over and over and over again.
I don't even know where we were. I wanted to hear about the drive shaft.
Oh, the drive shaft.
Packs.
Yeah,
right.
Got the coil pack.
So then you got home.
Yep, the car's sitting outside. I haven't touched it since. But I thought I had a massive oil leak, but it turns out it was just a broken vacuum line, which is super great.
That's always
like
really
it doesn't.
good. Yes.
The car doesn't leak anything.
That's amazing.
Other than the valve cover, which is already seeping. Unfortunately.
Right. Well, yeah,
but that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
All right.
That's like
I really want to hear about your homebrew drive shaft balancing, so I can tell you how terrible of an idea this is.
Okay. So here's what you do.
Okay.
Put the car on a hoist, which I don't have, so I got to find somebody with a hoist.
Oh no!
Put the car on the hoist.
Uh-huh.
And you get a magnet.
Uh-huh.
And you get like a little L bracket made out of steel.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you get like, it's maybe 8 inches tall, 9 inches tall, and it's shaped like, hopefully you're watching this, shaped like this. It's like a C shape.
Sure, yeah.
And then so then you magnet it to the bottom of the drive shaft or the bottom of the differential.
Yep.
And you take a glass of water.
Oh boy.
And you set it on the part that is hanging down. So then you've got this bracket and you've got a glass of water in a plastic cup, because you're not an idiot, hanging from the drive shaft. You start the car up, first of all, you take a couple of hose clamps and you put them on the drive shaft. Basically what you do is you drive it up to like 60, and then you just start the car up off and on and moving the hose clamps until the drive shaft no longer vibrates. And the hose clamps act as the counterweight because of the bolt that holds dude, I watched this video on YouTube. This guy gets his drive shaft to be like absolutely perfect by doing it this way. Absolutely perfect. You don't believe me? All right, say what you're going to say, and I'm going to look up the video.
That's just the most asinine way of doing it. No, what I was going to say is you take the drive shaft out, and then you put it on your bench. First of all, you have to make sure it's straight, and you do that by basically you create almost a homemade lathe where you mount it and you use a drill to spin it, right? And so you can have a dial indicator with a little bracket as well. This is what my dad did for his Model A. And you can make sure there's no run out, okay? So you can adjust it that way. And then if it's spinning freely, this is the same if you've ever seen like the homemade tire balancing machines, where you basically, it's on a very good bearing and you spin it. And wherever it stops, you mark. And you keep doing that over and over again. And your marks should then always be at the same point. You know that is the light end. And you mark out the heavy end. So then you adjust, you do it again. You keep marking.
All right, here you go.
That's much easier and safer.
Can you see this? No, this is great.
I can see it. I probably can't hear it, but...
All right, so this is what you've got.
So dumb.
Fabricated vibration sensor. This is...
Oh my God.
This is fantastic.
Fabricated vibration. So what are you doing with the water? You're just watching for...
Here, watch. Can you...
I can hear and I can see.
Okay,
this is unacceptable.
Basically you do this, and then you... this guy's got you mark these, you find out where the vibration spot is, and you put these hose clamps on here.
How do you... Okay, hold on. How do you find out where the vibration is? How do you know that?
The guy, he uses like a little... So that gives you your like kind of like your baseline, right? So you're like, okay, that is right here. This is where the basic spot is. So he gets it all the way. He keeps moving
That's checking run out, which is just as easy to do with it on a bench. and safer.
Yeah, but you don't even have to take it off. So then he's got this. He uses 2 of them. And then he can slide both of them back and forth to give himself a little bit more fidelity with what he's doing. But look at how he even says it. Look how unacceptable.
Like crazy.
Okay, so then by the time he's done.
Oh, boy.
It's barely vibrating. Look at it.
Uh-huh.
This freaking works, dude. So every time he moves them, he makes a little mark on the drive shaft of how far he moved it. And he gets it without even taking it out of the car, gets his drive shaft perfectly balanced by using this.
So do you leave the hose clamps on?
Yeah. Yeah, just leave them on.
Dumb. No.
Why? Why is it dumb?
They're going to come. Okay, hose clamps rust or will break loose.
No,
or
they won't.
Spin. Yep.
Why
you're
would they
bottom
spin?
out and hit them because they're spinning really fast near the ground. Okay, so that's going to knock loose. Do it the right way.
Stainless hose clamps.
Out. No. Remove material to balance it. Take it out of the car. Put it on the bench. Make a little fixture for it. Do it correctly.
This sounds... What a nightmare. Take the drive shaft out? Make a fixture? What do I need, an electric motor too?
Yes.
Do I need
use a drill? You didn't hear any of this. Okay.
Your way sounds dumb.
Is so dumb and dangerous and tedious. This sounds so tedious.
You'd be done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Well, dude, by the time you get the drive shaft out and mounted to your fixture, I'm already driving down the road smooth, like somebody smearing
until
peanut
your hose
butter.
clamp flies off or hits something, and then all of a sudden you're way out of vibration again because now you have one hose clamp in the wrong place. Because it's spinning at what? Let's see, 7,000 RPM divided by 4. Like it's going to be spinning pretty fast, at least 2,000 RPM, and you're going to undoubtedly hit something in the road or bottom out, or something's going to fly up and get to it.
And then what happens? Why would it rust? It's stainless.
This does not
seem
like...
If in the freak chance...
You're talking about the right way to do something, and you're talking about putting hose clamps on your drive shaft.
Absolutely. So mint. Or, once you know exactly where it is, just like weigh the hose clamp and get a washer and weld it to that spot. Would that make you feel better?
It's still not the right way to do it, but it's better.
No, it's fine. This is exactly what I'm doing.
This is
100%. Fabricated vibration sensor. This is mint. This is absolute genius.
This is the dumbest thing. And with your cup of water, now drive your car at 70 miles an hour in the air above you.
Until you find the water is acceptable, not unacceptable.
Until the car falls off the hoist and runs through the garage, crushing
Why would that happen?
You're not supposed to run a car up on a hoist.
Oh, get over it, OSHA boy. Come on. The amount of stupid shit I've seen you do, give me a break.
Yeah. I know, but like...
You could bring an extra hose clamp with you in the freak chance that a hose clamp falls off. It's tucked up inside.
That's
I
not
don't see
the right way to do it.
Well, the right way to do it would be to have a guy with a fixture balance the whole drive shaft correctly. That would be the right way to do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could do that too.
No, you can't. How are you making a fixture that's going to be perfect?
I'll ask my dad to send a photo, and you can add it because
there's no way his fixture is going to be as precise as the fixture that's in the car bolted to the transmission.
It doesn't have to be precise. It just has to be able to rotate on an axis.
It absolutely has to be precise. What are you bolting it to?
Like he just used 2x4s, and then you use a drill to spin it at speed, and that's how you check run out. That's what your chalk sitting there with your chalk does.
So you're only changing the run out.
No, and then you do the spin test. You sit there and spin
what's compensating for the wood, the weight of the wood?
The wood doesn't move. That's the fixture. Think of it as a lathe. You're just
what is the drive shaft bolting? Yeah, but you're not doing it on a lathe. You're bolting it to a 2x4.
Yeah.
No, that's better than this?
100%.
That does not sound better than this.
Yes, absolutely, because you're just spinning it out then
and
marking where
Please comment in the comments how wrong Jake is.
Have you ever seen a DIY tire balancer where you just spin it until it stops, you mark it, and you do that like 10 times, and you have a consistency then of where the heavy point is. That's what you're doing with the drive shaft. It'll always stop on the heavy point. You do it a few times to make sure there's no...
but
you average it.
The wheel has a hub that you're bolting to.
Yes. And this
what is going on the slip yoke? What's going to the slip yoke? How is that mounting to anything?
You put it in a bearing. Or you take
what
the
bearing?
Okay, how does it bolt into the transmission?
So I have to take it out of the center support. I have to remove everything.
Well, you have to remove the actual drive shaft.
No, this is a terrible idea. This is going to work great. It's going to be mint. It barely vibrates as is.
The most hokey thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it's mint. You should like this kind of thing, man. This is some like...
I like MacGyver stuff, but this is like, you talk about, I'm going to do it right. I don't want some shade tree mechanic
if it works,
doing the least amount of stuff and just doing it wrong with zip ties and duct tape. Instead, we'll use stainless hose clamps. There we go.
Yes,
much better.
Stainless, but I'm going to use zebra clamps because they're even better. And that thing is going to never, ever fall off. Never. Okay. It will never fall off. I will bet you $100. Shake with me right now. Stick your hand out.
What are we betting? You haven't even finished the bet.
That I balance it like this and nothing ever happens. And I'll let you put whatever time frame on it you want until I sell the car. 5 years, 10 years.
Even if it stays, I'm just saying that's not the right way to do it. It seems very hokey. Like someone's gonna get under there and be like, "Oh yeah, this is all really well done. Why are there hose clamps on the drive shaft?"
Holy shit! I wonder how that genius balanced his drive shaft with hose clamps.
So dumb.
I gotta find this guy. Who owns this car over here? hey! Who balanced this drive shaft with hose clamps?
Hose clamps. That
genius!
Is
genius! You're a genius.
Hokey duct tape baling wire way of doing it.
Oh,
all right.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know who does things the right way? AC Solutions. They offer complete plug-and-play air conditioning conversion kits for your classic BMW, such as Kris has in the Mercedes, Mercedes, such as the E30, E28, E24, and soon-to-be Porsche. They feature OEM quality components with period-correct finishes and materials. It looks like it belongs. They're designed as a drop-in upgrade to your old factory system with the performance of modern technology. Products stem from hand-on design and development. They have a deep knowledge and passion for the vehicles, and they're designed for enthusiasts by enthusiasts and come with complete full warranty instructions and mirroring those of a factory manual. Check them out at acsolutions.co. That's .co. There's no M, Kris.
I got something for you, Jake. I want you to dial this number that's on my shirt right now. 1-800-OREGON. I want you to pull that up on speakerphone and dial that. I want to know what that number goes to. This is a Barnes & Company OC Rally t-shirt from Oregon. Throw it on speaker and hold that right up to your microphone.
REGON?
E. Oregon.
E. At an N.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully this isn't...
I'm excited for this.
Put it on speaker and put the microphone right on your microphone. Yep.
This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Let's see who we got.
Promotion today for select callers. If you are over 50, please press 1 now.
Press 1, Jake.
Press 2.
I'm not over 50.
Hello and congratulations. Just for calling today, we're offering you a free medical alert device. You know, it's the little life-saving button you can wear around your neck in case of an emergency.
1-800-OREGON is a lifeline alert to... Okay, well...
Offer and enjoy the peace of mind that comes with 24/7 support.
I'm glad we did that. Very good.
Now I just wanted to know.
That's really funny. Okay, good deal. Okay, you also replaced the alternator in the 911 after I took apart the complete steering rack.
Interesting. Oh, let me talk about that situation. We can talk about the truck another time. Welcome to Kris's project episode. So there was a clunk in the 911, right?
Yes,
we're both aware of the clunk. And I took it to, everybody knows you took it apart and put it back together. I couldn't find it, which I found it. So I'm excited to show you.
Well, I did tell you, I was like, this what was it? It was the bearing for the actual steering shaft. I knew that was bad.
That was bad. Okay, so a couple things happened.
So I was close.
I took the car to Six Fix in Costa Mesa. He's owned by Cornelius, who used to work at Canepa and worked in Germany on race car stuff, and really, really competent dude. Absolutely knows his shit. And just in terms of Porsche shop, like the day he'd work on the car, he'd call me in the afternoon. Hey man, here's what I found today. Blah, blah, blah. Here's what's going on. Here's where we're at for cost, blah, blah, blah. It was awesome. I've never experienced that before. The clarity and the transparency was great. Anyway,
you're not the first person I've heard good things from him.
He's great.
So yeah,
he calls me up. He says, "Kris, I think your steering rack might be bad." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because everything else is fine. Because we replaced the U joint, which was the vagueness in my steering. My U joint was shot. The upper U joint behind the heater box was toast."
Oh, I thought that's what the whole problem was.
Well, we thought it was too, but he put it back together and he goes, "Hey man, everything's binding really, really bad. I don't know what it is. It's not safe to drive. You need a new steering rack." Anyway, I'm like, fuck, because the steering rack's $2,500. Calls me back a little bit later. He's like, "Hey, I think I found one for like $900 used." Like, that sounds great. Get that one.
Yep.
Calls me back the next morning. He's like, "I've got great news for you and bad news for me." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" He's like, "Your steering rack is fine," which basically means that
he bought a steering rack. Yeah, he's not going to.
Well, he bought the steering. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But he wasn't going to charge me for the labor then to take the steering rack in and out a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And basically what ended up happening. So bad for him, good for me.
Yeah.
What turned out the problem was in that case was the U joint that he got new was bad, and it was binding. Yeah. So a brand new U joint from Euro Parts, and Euro Parts is trash, right? It's just, but that's the only one that sells new. It's the only one that sells new. So he got a used one. And I don't know where he got it, wherever, but he put it in there. He's like, "Everything's fine. You need a better bump steer kit." We didn't put the bump steer kit back in, which I really wish he would have put that back in for the rally. But it's like, you need a better bump steer kit. It made the car hard to drive on the rally. Anyway, I drive it away. There's still a little bit of a clunk, and it was sometimes like he drove it and didn't experience the clunk, so he's like, "Clunk is gone." Right. I drive it like half hour later, clunk. And it's like hit a bump on the right side of the car. I mean, clunk. I mean, it is a clunk, like fuck, like sharp metal on metal clunk. Like a bushing is gone. A ball joint is you're gonna die.
Right.
If you keep driving the car like this. So again, I inspect everything. I can't find anything wrong with any suspension component. None. So I said, okay, maybe it's something internal with someone sent me a DM. I guess the RSR spindles have like an internal bearing that can fail.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's safe to drive because if it's an internal bearing inside the strut
it's not going to fall apart.
It's not going to fall apart. I don't care. So I felt fine with Jessie driving the car.
Yep.
Anyway, she drives the car, has a ton of bump steer. It's kind of sketchy to drive. So I adjusted the alignment a little bit, which made it better. But I get it home and I bought a bump steer kit, like an adjustable bump steer kit from Rebel Racing.
Yeah, which
kudos
goes
to them to making
the spindles.
So it basically moves. You want a level control arm like this. You want it to be level or maybe slightly pointed down to compensate for suspension compression, whatever. It was, mine were super negative. My car slammed.
Right.
So basically it just relocates the tie rod south and levels it out.
Correct.
And it comes with a bunch of different size washers and stuff like that. So they have it to where you can measure it within a mil. Like you can get really cool. Granular with this.
This is some people, everyone knows the term bump steer, but just to clarify. So when you're steering, you're pulling or pushing on your tie rods, which then moves the wheel in and out. And so if it's at an extreme angle, like Kris is talking about, what happens is when that suspension moves, there's so much angle that as it moves, it then pushes in or out because of the arc of the tie rod. And so that's why you want it level, is so there's as little movement in and out with the arc. There's always going to be some just with geometry, but that's what bump steer is. When you hit a big bump, you're literally your tires toe in or out, or if it's one side, then you dart over to that side because it's basically steering.
It's unnerving. It's unnerving.
It is very unnerving. Yes.
Especially at higher speed, it starts to like follow the road and stuff like that. It's super weird. So this is the kit I bought. It's like amazing. It's a really, really nice kit. The customer service from them, like comms are really bad. Like they just got no shipping information, nothing. And then 14 days later, it just shipped. Not great for that, but the actual product, really nice. So I put it on the car. And I get it as close to like a line as I can at home, get the tape measure out and got as close as I could. And drive it over to the alignment shop, which is near me. And I had the old Mercedes align there. And old dudes working a lot of Camaros, stuff like that. I know that they've seen tie rod bump steer kits before because hot rod guys do a similar thing, with stuff. Anyway, I go to pick up the car and he's like, yeah, man, I couldn't get your camber figured out. You still have you have 1 point, but we got it to 0 out. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, he went through this thing. He's like, we couldn't. I'm like, did you take the strut bar off when you did the camber? Because you can't adjust the camber with the strut bar in because it keeps
right. Yeah,
it's locking the camber in place because it's a stress bar between the 2 points. Right. You have to take that off, do the camber, and then re-index it and put it back in. Like, we use the strut bar to adjust the camber. And I was like, what do you mean?
Meaning he was pulling the entire chassis in or out.
Essentially. Well, he loosened everything up. Like he loosened all the stuff up. So he was pulling. No, he wasn't using the chassis.
Okay.
But he was, because it's what is it? It's like a turnbuckle.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So you turn it because when you adjust your camber, you have to adjust this to put a certain amount of tension on it.
Because it mounts to the top of the struts, so it needs to basically go in or out.
Yep.
Okay.
So I get home. Anyway, the alignment's not great. It still feels super weird. Turning right turns different than turning left. It was like $120. Okay. And he's like, yep, you've got a 1.8 degrees of positive camber on your right wheel or whatever wheel it was, and then 0 on one. And your toe is fine. Your caster is good, but we couldn't get the camber to come in any more than this. And I'm thinking, I don't want 1.8 degrees of positive camber on one wheel.
Right.
Like, I don't want that. Anyway, so I get it home. I open up the hood, and the dudes had used a pipe wrench to turn the strut bar. Right where it said Weltmeister, the logo. The logo's torn off. It's super scratched and fucked up and gouged
that's like
out.
An old vintage bar. And that's really cool.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna adjust the toe myself. I'm gonna camber myself just to get it not to be almost 2 degrees of positive camber. So I take everything apart. I got my little angle gauge thing, and I set it on the tire, like on the top of the tire. I said, okay, I know that they measured 1.8. I want it to be 0. So I'm going to do -2. I just said, I'll just do -2.
Sure.
Less than what it measured. Because obviously it's up in the air, so it's not going to measure what they measured when it was on the ground.
Right.
So I took like 1.5 degrees or 2 degrees out of it, tightened everything back up. And of course, I took the strut bar off when I did this. And what I noticed is when I took it off, that one of the spherical joints was totally fucked and loose and could not be tightened or loosened.
On the end of the strut bar.
On the end of the strut bar. And that's what the clunk was.
That's all it was.
It's all it was is that
just going back and forth.
Was going back and forth inside that strut bar.
That's why it wouldn't happen all the time, because your chassis doesn't flex all the time. It shouldn't flex at all. But that's why you have a strut bar. So under extreme load, when it started to flex, you would hear that.
It would clunk and it would smash. Yep. So I took it out, brought it over the bench, retapped everything, put it back together the best I could. I don't know that I would adjust it too many more times, but it's in the car. It's tight. It's good. There's no more clunk. And the car finally is starting to drive like better. I want it to drive. It's starting to feel better. So I called up the shop that you paid $1,000 for an alignment for and asked them like how much an alignment was. And they said it was like $300 to do an alignment on the car. So I might take it over there just to have a Porsche shop do an alignment, just so I know that someone that knows what they're doing. Normally I go to Samaritan Tire and they're pretty good. Maybe what I should do is take the strut bar off before I take it for an alignment somewhere.
Yeah. So that they don't with that.
They're not dealing with that situation. I don't know. It's super, super unfortunate.
Well, I mean, do you ever string align it? Have you ever string aligned a car? That's how I do all mine.
Yeah, but when you're talking about caster and stuff, it's not.
I know the caster you can't do, but you can do
I just want
camber the way you did, and
I know.
I bet it's
but I want
close.
There's a lot of caster adjustment on these cars. There's quite a bit. So I want to just take to somebody and have it put together, have it be done. I want to change the ride height a little bit because I want to replace the other upper strut bushing. on the car. I did one on one side because I thought that's what the clunk would be. It wasn't. But the other bushing was collapsed like a quarter of an inch. So now the car's a little bit higher on that side. So I got to lower it down. There's all these things I want to do and then take it and have it just done. And then hopefully I don't have to align it. At that price, you'd think that would be some sort of like lifetime alignment. You think for like $380, whatever they charge for an alignment over there?
No, it's not.
No, probably isn't. Samaritan Tire is. Maybe I'll just go down there again. Those guys have always been really, really good. I like those guys a lot. Really good and kind to me.
I think I got my 911 aligned there last time.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, the other place is really expensive.
Correct. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot going on for you.
Yep, and we haven't even talked about the truck.
No,
haven't even talked about
the Trooper.
Should we talk about the Trooper and the Scout as we'll do with our Drivers Club members? Should we hang over and hang out and do that?
I think that's a really good idea because we're basically at time here.
Tell me about the Drivers Club.
Before we do that, we have to talk about Petrobox, which is a monthly service made specifically for the automotive enthusiast. Each month, they carefully select items, including tools, detailing supplies, apparel, garage gear, stickers, and publications sent right to your doorstep. Curated selection of latest and greatest gear in the industry. There's 2 different levels to choose from, as you know. Petrobox Basic gets less than $20 a month, and the Petrobox Premium gets you even more gear for $39.95 a month. Check them out at mypetrobox.com.
All right. Let's hang everybody over for the Drivers Club. If you're not a freeloading cheapskate, you can continue to listen to this this episode on the app or browser or whatever you choose. It's $5 a month. Overcrestproductions.com/Drivers Club.
Chris doesn't know the link. Chris
/Drivers Club.
The link. It also works.
Well, whatever. Anything that is not our 404 error just leads to the Drivers Club, I think.
Correct. Yes, 100%.
You can support the show. And I always say, when we get to this point in the show, if you're not a Drivers Club member, everybody tunes out anyway. But all these partners that we talked about, they all believe in what Overcrest is. They believe in what you do with your car, and they are real people that love what we do. They love what you do. Use them. If you're buying a radiator, buy it from CSF. If you have air conditioning on your BMW, talk to those guys. Talk to Austin. You need parts, go to FCP. If you want to buy a gift for somebody, go to Petrobox. Like these things. If you want to support us, sign up for the Drivers Club.
Yeah, they believe
all these things
in us and you because you're part of Overcrest. That's
and if you were a Drivers Club member, you got a 13% off code for FCP Hero not that long ago.
Absolutely,
and that would have paid for, depending on what you bought. I know that some people have used it enough that would have paid for a year of their Drivers Club membership. So 100%. You could have gotten a discount.
There may or may not be something coming down the pike for CSF too. Who knows?
Ooh, yeah, maybe. Might want to think about signing up. Overcrestproductions.com/Drivers Club. All right, tell me about this story of your Scout. Bye everybody. If you're not members, see you later.
We'll see you guys. Take care.
All right, bye.
All right, 1965 International Scout. So
why did you buy this? Where did this come from? Like what?
Our ever enabling friend Colin always sends me, maybe you too, just like Facebook finds, right? And it's like